This video contains flashing lights, unsettling content and violent content. Viewer discretion advised.
Shotgun is unfair to tiny baby enemies.
Loud, heavy, powerful. There's nothing quite like the feeling of wielding a weapon capable of tearing your enemies to shreds with a single trigger pull. No matter how many barrels or what type of ammo, the shotgun is your best friend in the face of close encounters.
They are the novelty of FPSs the world over, whether you're battling in post-apocalyptic wastelands, through demon-infested caverns, or escaping the depths of space stations overrun by alien creatures.
You'll always want one of these on hand, and so with no further ado, let us introduce the top 80 shotguns in games.
Babyface's Blaster, Team Fortress 2. After a long, hard day of causing as much death and destruction as possible, sometimes it's nice to just settle down, have a sandwich, and look through all the possible weapons you can use in the TF2 characters. And sometimes, when the Steam gods are feeling particularly generous, you may be gifted with something as powerful as the Babyface's Blaster. A weapon created for the Scout, it provides the opportunity to cause some serious damage. While it only has a clip of 4 bullets and it slows Scout down enormously, it also provides you with the ability to build your boost. When this meter goes up, you'll be able to run at super speed, zipping through the battlefield like the Flash making a guest appearance at the Olympics. To charge the meter, you need to do as much damage as you possibly can to other players, as every bit you do increases it. The boost meter also gives you the ability to do rather impressive air jumps. However, when you use this ability, the meter will reduce. There is also the fact that you're going to have to avoid damage as much as possible, as it obliterates your chances of using this gun to its fullest extent. While it's a roaring good time, just be careful you don't pull an Icarus and get too close to the sun, and then get shot down by a heavy.
Automatic Shotgun, Goldeneye 64. The automatic shotgun in Goldeneye was designed for a super spy, and as such, it is a short-range shotgun with highly effective shots, perfect for taking down your enemies with enormous precision and pellets that cause a lot of damage provided all of them strike their mark. It's located in the caverns and the statue level of the game, and is blessed with a 5-shell magazine. However, one of the greatest benefits of the automatic shotgun is the fact that it is a far more subtle version of the shotgun in terms of noise and detectability. Therefore, for Bond's capacity to be able to make it through areas mostly unscathed, it's one of the better suited weapons. The recoil on the automatic shotgun is also improved from the shotgun, so this helps the player deal with taking their shots a little bit easier. The true mark of a secret agent, you're going to want to get your hands on this baby before anyone else does in multiplayer, especially before your younger siblings do. B-42 Berserker, Soldier of Fortune. Designed after the real-life Spaz 12, the B-42 Berserker is a real Russian butt-kicking machine. The weapon's quick rate of fire already puts it above many others on this list in terms of convenience and reaction times, but its incredibly fast reload makes this deadly piece of hardware a must-have. At close range, it'll blow off heads, blow off arms, limbs, and pretty much anything else. And even as a mid-range weapon, the Berserker can still knock the Russians off balance for a split second so you can close in for the kill. Longer ranges are of course a struggle, and it is quite a noisy gun, not to mention armored hostiles can take a beating. But you'll never find a more exceptional ally, at least not in this game.
M21 Shotgun, Resident Evil 7, Biohazard. If you're going to survive the horrors of Baker Residence, you're going to need all the help you can get. Initially the broken shotgun, the M21 is found in the hands of a stone bust, which you can replace with a replica. After repairing its faults, the over-under barreled shotgun is now yours to utilize. Its firepower is impressive, able to knock down almost every enemy type in the game. While usually shotguns are advertised at a close range, the M21's slow handling, especially when aiming, make this weapon quite cumbersome. However, the brutal results of an up-close dose of buckshot create quite the chaotic yet enjoyable scramble to survive. May not be much to it, but the M21 is just too much fun to go without mentioning. Quad Barrel, Unturned. For the price of a Master Key shotgun, a few pieces of scrap, and a blueprint acquired from Doc Ernie, you can create your very own quad barrel, sporting 4 business ends all situated neatly in a row. This weapon of zombie destruction can be a bit of a handful at first. The spread is awful, the range is abysmal. So what exactly does this gun do well? Kills. 3 kills, rather. Get within spitting distance of a zombie, and blood will fly all over the place. Holding 8 12-gauge rounds in the chambers, the gun can be fired more than most other shotguns on this list, and the reload is none too shabby either. Keep your distance, pick your targets, and mow down the opposition, which should fall faster than a line of dominoes.
HECU Spaz 12. Half-life. With a cone-shaped spatter of bullets and 2 different forms of firing, the HECU Spaz 12, short for Hazardous Environment Combat Unit Spaz 12, is one of the most badass guns in Half-Life. In a sleek black form with a narrow barrel and a massive pump action on the base, it looks like the kind of weapon to be used by super soldiers for advanced warfare. Which, to be fair, it kind of is. The first form of fire results in 6 pellets being fired from 1 shell. The second uses 2 shells but doubles the pellet spread. The Spaz 12 is perfect for making your way through the mean streets of the world you find yourself in, with it being able to be used very effectively for zombies and their little headcrab buddies. The 12 spray attack is incredibly useful, being one of the best things you can possibly use in the entire game, with it being able to shoot down most enemies in a single shot if at least half the pellets land. Although it does have a slow reload, it's well worth using to the best of its abilities by mowing down the many foes in your path to escape Black Mesa. Racom Gutter Cleaner, Shadowrun. While it may not appear to be the most unique shotgun on this list, this pump action is a killing machine in the field. Not many weapons are effective against all classes, but the shotgun rips right through the shields of an elf and kills them in 1 shot, whilst it takes about 2 or 3 shots to kill a human, dwarf, or troll. Make your 6 shots count, but even if you can't land all your hits, reloading doesn't take an eternity, despite having to load each cartridge 1 at a time. Yes, it may not be the greatest idea to get up close and personal with a human player, but play smart with the Racom Gutter Cleaner and the battlefield will be wiped clean, your enemies straight down the drain.
Sawed-off shotgun. Blood. Blood is exactly what this shotgun delivers in spades. Inspired by the boomstick from Evil Dead, as are a few of the other residents of this list, the sawed-off is a powerhouse at close and mid-ranges, easily making Swiss cheese out of small enemies such as zombies and like. Cultists also wield this weapon, but they are nowhere near as proficient as the player, given you have decent aim. The shotgun comes with a primary and secondary fire, discharging either 1 round or both respectively, allowing you to spend ammo sparingly to save up for stronger hostiles. Movement is still key, especially while reloading, but let's be honest, the Cabal and their satanic forces really don't stand a chance.
M1897 Trench Gun, Call of Duty World at War. This is a gun that saw grit and slaughter in the trenches of World War II, cutting down combatants in the jungles of Japan. Used by the American Armed Forces, the trench gun was mainly reserved for close combat within the tight corridors of bunkers and extensive dugouts the Japanese soldiers kept well hidden from the eyes of the Allies. Should you be attempting a stealthy approach, a bayonet can be attached to the front. What makes it particularly well suited to combat is its tight spread, decent ammunition count at 6 shells for the campaign, 4 for multiplayer, and good range, especially for a shotgun of its type. Several adjustments can be made to the weapon for multiplayer, making it even deadlier. It can be upgraded in a pack-a-punch machine in Zombies mode to become the gut shot, but the trench gun is much more likely to be put to practical use.
Shotgun, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, Tides of War. A modified Winchester 1893 by John Browning spawned the Shotgun. This M97 model carries 6 single-load 16-gauge buckshot cartridges that can be pumped out in quick succession. The range is decent and often result in one-hit kills for anyone, even a few meters away. Pellets are tight and effective, so long as you can aim well enough during a firefight. Even reloading isn't much of a chore, so make sure Blazkowicz picks it up in Wolfberg, as it'll come in handy, especially when dealing with the undead. This shotgun isn't available outside of the bonus intro missions that come with the console ports of the game, and even then, only in the Xbox version. Enjoy this treat of a gun while it lasts.
AA-12, Killing Floor. When the name of the game is literally Killing Floor, you better believe that you need to bring some badass guns to help you cause as much death and destruction as possible. The AA-12 is one of the game's best attempts at this, with punchy power behind every single shell fired. As a semi-automatic, it has the ability to fire at a decent rate with a range that outclasses most other shotguns. If you can manage to save your pennies, you'll be able to pick this baby up, but just remember it doesn't come cheap. Classed as a support weapon, it could be used to rapidly take down mutants who fly at you from every direction. It's perfect when those mass assaults come in, being able to rack up kills with a high fire rate that mows down enemy after enemy, and it even has a rapid reload so you don't get caught out. The only downside is that the AA-12 chews up ammunition like candy, even with its 20-round magazine, so you'll need to keep an eye on your shell supply to prevent being stuck in the midst of a horde of mutants with an empty shotty.
Crowd pleaser, Dead Island. This legendary shotgun sure did please its handlers once they stumbled upon one inside a metal chest. This SPAS-12 based assault shotgun is both moderately powerful and fast, with both fire rate and reload speed being key selling points in its design. The Crowd Pleaser is a legendary weapon that overpowers any standard shotgun. It doesn't excel at close ranges, but a few well-placed shots will still decapitate or decimate a zombie at close range almost instantly. About the only disappointing thing about this gun is that there's not much to say about it apart from that. But it's the simple things in life that keeps the crowds pleased.
SG-04 Shotgun, Metal Slug. Whittling down General Donald Morton's forces is made infinitely easier with the aid of the SG-04 Shotgun. Utilized by the Peregrine Falcon Squad as they prevent the New World Order from establishing control across the Earth, this weapon may look simple, but its power is glorious, showering enemies in a wide arc of shrapnel. Its range may be half that of other gun types, but the shotgun's stopping power against anything thrown at it, such as soldiers and tanks alike, make up for its weakness. Keep your enemies close, and your shotguns closer. WSTE M5 Combat Shotgun Marathon 2 Durandal. This weapon is double barrels of fun, but do you know what's better than one satisfyingly powerful shotgun? Two satisfyingly powerful shotguns, dual wielding a pair of these bad boys, watching your sprite flip the trigger ring to chamber another round, slicing through P4 slavers like tissue paper is an experience like no other. Just point in the general direction of your target and pull the trigger right in their faces. Easy and simple. Your only worthy opponent will be conserving your ammo for the duration of the game. Sawed-off shotgun, Postal 2. One of the most trustworthy guns that anyone can get in a game is a good old sawed-off shotgun, and the one in Postal 2 is no exception. Introduced with the Eternal Damnation mod and ported over in the A Week in Paradise mod, it provides the player with the opportunity to shoot the absolute crap out of anything that crosses their field of vision, with as much blood and gore as they can dream up. Permanently enshrined in the game with the Postal 2 Complete Edition, the gun brings a hell of a lot of punch. The sawed-off shotgun makes you the dude from hell, able to cause carnage wherever you please. This gun is so powerful that it can even shoot through doors, and while it doesn't have a very fast reload speed, the amount of damage it does is enough that reloading usually isn't necessary because everyone is already dead. The Complete Edition also allowed for other shotgun ammo in the game to be used for the saw-off, making your job 10 times easier as it's far less difficult to obtain bullets like this. The sawed-off shotgun is the perfect thing for causing absolute ruination in the backwaters, so be sure to use it to the best of its ability.
Terrible shotgun, Fallout 3. When a gun with the prefix of terrible happens to make its way into your inventory, the general idea that one tends to get is that it will most likely live up to its name. That's not the case with the terrible shotgun in Fallout 3, which is one of the most effective small guns in the entirety of the game. Visually, it represents a combination of a shotgun and a machine gun, with a prominent barrel at the bottom, giving it a classical appearance of something that could quite successfully be used by various members of the Mafia. The one catch with the terrible shotgun is that it's only really effective when all of the pellets hit its target, and with such a wide spread it can be quite difficult to use, but if you do land all of them, it can be massively effective. Should all of the pellets manage to land critical hits, and it's used in sneak attack mode, in combination with perks, and with a headshot, it can do more than the damage of a fat man, making it potentially one of the most powerful weapons, if not the most powerful weapon in the game, able to take down the biggest enemies in a single shot. It is only found in the inventory of Smiling Jack, a merchant in Evergreen Mills, so it's quite an anomalous weapon. You can pickpocket it or kill him for it with no ill effects, but be warned. It can surpass expectations or indeed live up to its name, depending on how lucky you are.
Pump action shotgun, Duke Nukem 3D. Duke Nukem has a lot of things he enjoys, but there's nothing he loves more than pumping his shotgun up and down, blasting away in the faces of his enemies, and it's lovely to get the feeling of satisfaction as he does it. In fact, it's his second favorite thing to hold in his hands and stroke. A sleek 12 gauge with a long barrel and a strong, forceful grip, it's designed to be used as hard and as fast as you possibly can manage. To be fair, it's not just all flash and no action. Every single shot that the pump action shotgun lets off allows for 7 pellets that do 10 damage on impact. It's best to get as close as you possibly can though, because the less you withdraw, the more penetrative your rounds will be. You may need to give it a little while to rest after you shoot it though, as it does take some time to reload. However, it is worth noting that Duke has a lot of spare ammo with him, so you can be fairly liberal with your bullets. You'll notice that the pig cops have a similar gun, but don't worry, yours is better than theirs.
Gnasher, Gears of War 2. This spin-cocking, locust-shredding rugged piece of hardware fits the tone of the Gears of War series to a T. Its short barrel makes for great combat convenience, its range is above average for a shotgun, and in fact it can turn any opponent to jelly in 1 to 2 shots, makes the Gnasher invaluable. It's no wonder almost every faction wants their hands on this weapon. It's almost perfect. The only thing preventing full marks is its rate of fire, which can sometimes leave you a sitting duck during an overwhelming firefight. One of its best features, however, are its sounds. The Gnasher sounds like a weapon of war. It feels like a gun designed to be as unapologetically lethal as possible. And the results speak for themselves. Just make sure that when you come up against an enemy wielding one of these, that you're the one who shoots first.
Riot Shotgun, Fallout New Vegas. To get through the terrors of the wasteland, you're gonna want to go in with your eyes wide open and a big iron on your hip. The Riot Shotgun is the perfect candidate for the job as you traverse the Mojave with its incredible close-range impact and fast reload time, giving you the upper hand in any encounter. With a larger magazine than most other shotguns, this 12-gauge shotgun will provide you with just the right amount of ammo to take down those pesky critters who are getting all up in your face. Using very few VATS points compared to other shotguns, it's also handy for those days when you just don't feel like aiming down your sights. It's not all roses though. The further you get from your foes, the worse your accuracy will get, and to add to this, 12-gauge slugs are abysmally expensive and particularly rare to scavenge off your enemies. It also doesn't come easily. There are very few drops in the game, especially when compared to some of the lower tier weapons, and most of them are held by guards and gang members in the city of New Vegas. If you can get your hands on one, it's well worth the trouble, especially for those satisfying final kill cams.
Boneduster, Bulletstorm. This gun doesn't just brush off bones, it grounds them into dust. The Boneduster is 4 barrels of fun, chewing through any opposition gleefully. When used in conjunction with the energy whip and its time-slowing capabilities, the air of the battlefield will be filled with the blood of your enemies. The Boneduster fires compressed air that shreds all organic material with ease, and its secondary fire superheats the round that sets enemies alight, burning them to ashes. While it handles like a dream at close range, the Boneduster is near useless at long distance.
Explosive Shotgun. Grand Theft Auto 4, The Ballad of Gay Tony. There are 2 options you can choose from when you are given the explosive shotgun in Grand Theft Auto 4. One is the boring option, which is the use of garden variety buckshot that does normal ordinary damage with boring old red coloring. The other is the cool option of using the green shells that will blow up everything you shoot at with magnificent explosions. While the buckshot does little damage, the explosive shells will always kill their target within 2 shots, if you hit the target. They are also perfect for smashing the crap out of vehicles, with a force that will leave even the toughest of machines reeling from the impact. The explosive shotgun also has pretty impressive range for a weapon of its type, and incredible accuracy if it is used correctly. Having a similar damage capacity to the advanced sniper when used well in multiplayer, it certainly makes for an absolutely iconic weapon that anyone should be pleased to add to their armory.
Sparrowshot MX, Earth Defense Force 2017. It may seem like a chore having to fight through countless alien bugs and robots on Inferno mode just to get this shotgun, but all the pain, time, and effort will have been worth it. The Sparrowshot MX is by far the best shotgun in EDF 2017, and here's why. 16 rounds in the chamber ready to be pumped out in rapid succession, delivering high damage in the form of a spray of energy buckshots. 2 shots are enough to kill a red ant, 5 shots are enough to down a Hector on hard. While the reload may leave a lot to be desired, you take advantage of the dodge roll and you'll be back on your feet ready to fire in only 5 short seconds. There's no better weapon for the Earth Defense Force soldiers to use, saving their Mother Earth from any alien attack.
Shockentry 100. Front lines, fuel of war. A battle-hardened piece of equipment that will never fail you, the Shockentry 100 is a shotgun that tries to be as compact, powerful, and user-friendly as possible. 10-gauge cartridges are loaded into the gun via drum-fed action magazine, which makes reloading faster than single insertion. This also cuts out pump action delay, however recoil still takes a moment to recover from, slowing the rate of fire. This also means that while you have 10 cartridges per magazine, you'll have to use them wisely from behind cover or during sneak attacks. Don't worry about range, as the Shockentry is still powerful at even long ranges. Whilst not the most outstanding weapon to look at on this list, it sure as hell will put to rest any coup d'etat against the Western Coalition. Assault Shotgun, Grand Theft Auto 5. Often described as one of the most, if not the most, OP guns in Grand Theft Auto 5, the Assault Shotgun has a whole lot of bang for your buck. With each pellet doing 32 damage and the ability to do 192 damage if the whole slug hits its target, the gun has the capacity to be incredibly deadly, especially in close quarters. While it only fires 6 pellets in each shot, the efficiency and the sheer firepower of this little beast makes up for any drawbacks it may have. Even if the small magazines put you off at first glance, you can buy further enhancements to tank out the gun until you're happy with it. Bigger magazines? Check. Flashlight for dark spots? Check. Fancy grip? Check. Suppressor so you can kill more poor schmucks out in the street without the cops noticing? Check-a-rooney. Once you fully kit it yourself out, you'll be virtually unstoppable. The assault shotgun is so effective it almost feels like cheating. Not quite as much as typing in painkiller, but it's certainly close enough.
Peacekeeper, Apex Legends. Ask anyone and they'll probably tell you the Peacekeeper is the best shotgun in the game. Its mix of high damage versus high risk low magazine make for intense multiplayer action. A not so easy find in the battlefield, the Peacekeeper is extremely handy for close to mid-range combat. One of its interesting features is the star-shaped spread of its pellets. This is especially useful with precision choke to tighten the spread, as the more pellets that hit, the higher the damage dealt. One piece of advice we can offer is to always take a moment to aim your shots to ensure the best accuracy when firing. Have a whole team of these on hand and you'll be seeing the champion screen on a regular basis.
Mag 7. Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I'm sure there are many of us out there with fond memories of sneaking into random lobbies in CSGO, shooting a bunch of the players up, and then exiting again, leaving only a trail of bodies behind you. The thing is, the Mag 7 was one of the most perfect weapons for this. A sleek, black model with a pump action lever, it's the kind of gun that makes you feel like a badass while you use it. If you can hit your target, it is fairly well an insta-kill at close range, and also is one of the better weapons for armor piercing. While it does not have enormous magazine capacity or a high rate of fire, it works perfectly for surprise attacks where you spring up on people from behind environmental elements. One notable point about the Mag 7 is that it has a very fast reload with its detachable magazine, making it easier than most to use with ease. Considering that its real-life counterpart is absolutely appalling as a gun, this makes for some sweet irony within the game. For the counter-terrorist team, it's a lot of fun to use as a weapon, and it makes those sneak headshots all the more satisfying.
Dragoon Blunderbuss, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, Freedom Cry. The Assassin's Creed forums are absolutely littered with people desperately searching for a way to find the Dragoon Blunderbuss, a constant thorn in the sides of completionists. You can only receive the gun when you've gotten 100% synchronization on all main missions, but by the time you get it, it's not quite as useful as it would have been earlier on. With its ornately carved handle and formidable barrel size, it's sure to give people a fright when you hop out of the bushes wielding it. The Dragoon Blunderbuss has fairly well similar functions to the portable cannon, with decent damage done by its hard-hitting ammo balls, enough to blow us all away. Accompanied by its other difficult-to-get sibling, the precision shooter and the aforementioned portable cannon, this weapon makes for a formidable foe to use against your enemies and to liberate slaves. That is, if you still need it with your 100% completion of your sinking.
Rare Calyx Shotgun, Starbound. Starbound is well known for its randomized weapons and the fact that when you end up with something, you never quite know what you're going to get out of it. Due to this, it's always best to sit there when you get a shotgun and cross your fingers that it will be a rare Calyx model. Blessed with one of the elemental power-ups depending on the model, your gun may end up causing burning, poison, frost, or electric damage, all of which can be devastating depending on who you're up against. Decimating health at the rate of 9.5 to 10.5 per second, the rare Calyx shotguns can be absolutely brutal to use on your enemies. The rarity of the gun generally increases the knockback rate as well, which can result in a possible knockback of 40, as well as maintaining an incredible rate of fire. If you should happen across one of these beauties in your travels, it's well worth picking up and keeping all to yourself.
Justice, Fallout 4. The first thing you'll notice about Justice is that it doesn't look all too much, appearing to be a fairly ordinary shotgun. It can be found in Penny's store in the town of Covenant, and is the only one of its kind in the game, making it completely unique. With a high fire rate and decent range considering, it marks itself as one of the best shotties in the game, already able to do 50 damage with a shot. It's not as though this gun needs anything else to make it more viable, and yet it has a chance to stagger enemies when you hit them. This makes the shotgun particularly useful when you're getting mauled by someone or something all up in your grill. It has a clip of 8, which isn't outstanding, but it is enough to get you by without needing to reload that frequently. While you can upgrade it at gun benches to make it more effective, most people don't find this to be necessary as the gun certainly comes strong enough already. At the least, it's a great collector's piece for those who want to get every single unique piece in the game, and it's not too bad of a weapon either.
Double Barrel Coach Gun, Serious Sam HD, the first encounter. In the style of a traditional 2-barrel coach shotgun, the Double Barrel Coach Gun may look old-timey, but it's certainly not to be underestimated. Realistically, it looks like it could have popped right out of Elmer Fudd's hands and into the hands of Sam Stone for some hardcore wabbit hunting, but with aliens. first found in the Temple of Hatshepsut as a secret weapon, and then in the Tomb of Ramses III. It carries 14 pellets but uses 2 for every firing, so therefore it works as a 7 shotgun. It causes a cool 10 points of damage with every single shot, so it's worth using. But it has special use against clear skeletons, as they will always go down with a hit from the coach gun if it hits point blank. Particularly useful in close quarters, it does have a wide spread that allows Sam to hit many enemies at the same time if they're all in a clump. However, it does have a dismal reload time that leaves you wide open to attacks, so it's worth quietly edging away while the animation for the reloading drags on. For the most part though, it's perfect for alien hunting season, so you better get to work!
M90 cores, Halo Combat Evolved. With its familiar and comforting glow sights and the long black barrel that suggests the capacity to absolutely obliterate your enemies, the M90 close assault weapon system is like an old friend who has the ability to punch you in the face, but just chooses to do it to everyone else instead. The one gun that everyone dreaded facing in multiplayer, aside from perhaps a really good sniper or pistol, it makes quick work of all those who face it. With 12 rounds and a fair number of pellets per shot, the spread of this gun is perfect for those moments when you're faced with a huge horde of enemies encroaching on you. It has pretty incredible range and exploits that allow for reloading to be made easier, if a little cheaty. The amount of damage that it manages to do is spectacular when used at close quarters. Perhaps the time it comes in most handy is when you're faced with the Flood. It makes for some quick blasting when you're getting overrun with the little buggers. It's also perfect for some of those big enemies that get up close and personal, and therefore the M90 is one of the best guns in the Halo series, and well worth keeping in your arsenal. Super Shotgun, Doom 2016. Most of Doom is dedicated to giving Doom Guy the coolest ways to shoot the crap out of your enemies, and the glorious displays of slaughter in the aftermath. It does have a small ammunition capacity, but what it lacks in this department, it more than makes up for in serious firepower. A double barrel that seems to be rusted, or perhaps extremely bloodied, the Super Shotgun uses a double buckshot that, unless the gun is altered, fires both cylinders at the same time. With 60 damage per pellet and the capacity to fire off 16 pellets, it allows the Super Shotgun to do nearly 1000 damage before the necessity to reload. Another gun that works well as close as possible to its targets, it has the ability to cause some amazing kill scenes, but it is held back by the low firing rate and the slow reload. Able to be found in a secret location initially in the Argent Energy Tower, it is quite the asset if you should obtain it earlier in the game. It can also be modified with a number of upgrades which allow for higher damage, faster reload, and penetrating shots, which just helps you blow the brains out of any demon that may come your way.
Riot Gun, Condemned 2. The SU's close quarters weapon of choice, the Riot Gun is good at disposing hostiles with little effort. It's the first weapon Ethan Thomas gets his hands on before entering the junkie-infested Preston Hotel. While perhaps not the strongest on the list, it does its job well and can deal good amounts of gory damage with a decent ammo belt and accuracy. The rate of fire can get you into trouble with faster moving enemies, but a little weapon variation can easily remedy that. Handy and reliable, provided you've drunk enough booze.
Mastiff, Titanfall 2. Controlling your own weaponized mech is the primary selling point of the Titanfall franchise. But when you're unable to call upon one to aid you in battle, it's always handy to have the best weapons on hand to counter opposing forces. The Mastiff is a returning weapon in Titanfall 2, and once you have it in your hands, learn its habits as quickly as you can, as this will be the key to utilizing it to max potential. Every shot of the weapon's base 4 rounds carries 8 projectiles that spread in a purely horizontal pattern. But while that spread may be wide when fired from the hip, aiming down sights narrows it massively. This should increase the amount of hits on a target and, at close ranges, kill an enemy in a single shot. Learning the curvature and travel rate of the projectiles is key, and timing is critical in the fast-paced combat zone. Downsides include the weapon being not too effective against Titans themselves, neither does it possess a fast reload speed, as all 4 cartridges must be inserted singularly. However, interruption whilst reloading is possible should you be attacked at such a critical moment. All of these negatives can be mitigated by perks, which should even out the destructive nature of the Mastiff with convenience.
Blunderbuss, Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare. Historically, the blunderbuss is a notoriously unreliable and fickle weapon, with enormous ammunition and a penchant for misfiring, or worse, shooting back at the face of its owner. However, judging by the fact that you've got to fight off hordes of the undead, perhaps it makes sense that a bunch of outdated corpses are easily massacred by an outdated weapon. While it does not have a marvelous range, nor does it have incredible reloading time, it does have the capacity to shoot the crap out of any undead that even thinks of coming near you. Also, there are drawbacks, such as its instant destruction of anything and everything that the zombies are carrying, as well as the fact that the method of constructing its ammo is sufficiently disgusting, as the bullets are made of undead body bits. However, if you weigh up the pros and cons, the ability to smash your enemies to a bloody pulp with a single bullet is certainly something that theoretically outweighs all else. It's especially handy if you find yourself in a pinch surrounded by a bunch of corpses with nothing but vengeance on their rotting minds. M300 Claymore, Mass Effect 3. One look at this weapon's stats will put most buyers off. It is incredibly heavy, has to reload after every round that is fired, has abysmal accuracy, and the small print warns that it'll rip the arms off any species who fires it except Krogan. However, after a slight redesign that makes the use of the M300 Claymore open to all, and a generous price drop, there's one aspect of the shotgun that makes it super appealing: damage. The Claymore can tear through any sucker stupid enough to walk in front of the barrel, cutting through shielded enemies like paper and bringing down mechs in just a couple shots. If you can manually aim and have the patience and tactics of a soldier, keeping out of trouble as you reload after each shot, then the M300 Claymore may just be the greatest piece of hardware in your arsenal. So instead of ripping your arms off, rip the enemies off instead.
Shotgun, Painkiller, Hell and Damnation. Found in the cemetery area of Painkiller, Hell and Damnation, the shotgun is a rather efficient weapon that works perfectly for close combat. With a devastating damage of 96 when it hits its target with the fullest force, the gun has the perk of being fairly fast to reload, which in the world of slow shotguns and games is an absolute blessing. However, what really makes this gun stand out is its alternate fire, which allows for the player to use liquid nitrogen ammunition that completely freezes your enemies and brings them to a standstill, allowing for you to unleash a fully fledged attack on their unmoving bodies. While the freezing itself doesn't cause any damage, it allows for you to take the upper hand in any given battle, especially when faced with massive, terrifying foes. What does need to be noted with this gun is the fact that it chews up ammo like candy, so it's best to keep an eye on your shelves, just in case you should run out. One thing is for sure though, while this gun is found in the graveyard, it's certainly not one that should be buried in your arsenal.
Super Shotgun, Quake 2. There's only one rule with the Super Shotgun: get up close and personal, or die. Found in Unit 2, if you miss it in one of Unit 1's secret levels, the Super Shotty holds 2 rounds which must be reloaded after each shot. This may be slightly more time and ammo consuming than other weapons, but the fast-paced organ-gnashing gunplay won't cease despite these drawbacks. Maneuverability is key, as well as ensuring as many of the 20 pellets fired connect with your target to incur maximum damage. This is especially true and far more dangerous to pull off in multiplayer deathmatches.
Matador 64, Destiny. The arrival of the Taken King also signaled the advent of the Matador 64, a pump-action shotgun with a simple description of "Be the Bull." Vague, yet altogether true, as players discovered when they picked up its weapon type and got a good perk. Maxing out the gun's range and impact made the Matador 64 an incredible tool of destruction, and a crucible favorite in Destiny's heyday. You might find a whole lobby full of players all blasting each other with this shotgun, killing each other in 1 or 2 hits, and crowding around the nearest special ammo crate to have it spawn. Ammo count may be low, and fire rate also presents an issue, but with a steady aim, you'll make mincemeat out of any guardians who oppose you, until you decide to kill one of the many actual enemies that there are in the game.
Spaz 12, Call of Duty Black Ops. Even though the Spaz 12 is the first shotgun you're given in the game, it's a well-made one with high damage and pretty incredible distance. A semi-automatic instead of a pump action, it provides the player with a decent way to fight regardless of the circumstances. It also has a magazine that is relatively well-sized, the largest of all the shotguns in the game. With perks, it can be made more effective, and when you're given the opportunity to access special ammo, such as the Dragon's Breath incendiaries, it will become even nastier. The Dragon's Breath ammo will set your enemies on fire, and even at maximum range, will burn them to death if your shot hits its mark. With the ammo being able to manage 16 pellets instead of 8, it also provides you a far better chance to make your mark. The ammunition also allows you the chance to use a wider reticule, making the spread even wider so you can hit more enemies at the same time.
Striker, Resident Evil 4. The Striker is the kind of gun that you need to work your way up to, first using the other taster shotguns to psych you up for the eventual glory that is this gun. Designed as a combination between a long barrel shotgun and a barreled machine gun, at first sight it even appears completely badass. Capable of semi-automatic fire and having a small case capacity of only 10 slots, it proves to be the most space-effective and also fastest firing shotgun in the entire game. While the Riot Gun still has better distance, the Striker has a massively fast reload and firing speed, and it also has the capacity to cause huge amounts of damage even from the get-go. With upgrades, the Striker will make the player virtually unstoppable, especially when the shell capacity is put up to its full 100 ammunition slots, leaving little to no reason to reload. It is the perfect gun for crowd control situations where you can get a full, close-range spray on a series of enemies at the same time. However, it is notoriously hard to get headshots with. In order to use this gun to its fullest potential, you'll need to get as close as you can to the creatures that you have in your sights, and it doesn't stagger. So beware, the Striker is not for the faint of heart.
Splatbrella, Splatoon 2. The Splatbrella is not an easy weapon to use, and it's an even harder weapon to master. While it's not the most conventional of shotguns, it does have similar effects to the well-known weapon, doubling as a shield that protects the user from oncoming attacks from the front. The Splatbrella can be fired off, causing 30 damage on impact whenever it makes contact with an enemy. The umbrella part of the weapon, when launched, moves incredibly fast with the ability to pass through the enemy's most built-up defenses. However, the smaller shots fire off 6 bullets in each attack, able to cause between 12 to 18 damage, and if all the shots land, they can in theory cause 90 damage total. The player will have the ability to fire off 15 shots before their ink tank is completely depleted, giving them the ability to fire off a fair succession. The supplementary item that comes with the Splatbrella is the Sprinkler, which in and of itself can be a stinker of a thing to get past. So all in all, the weapon is quite a formidable thing to defeat, especially when taking on a seasoned user.
UV Shotgun, Crackdown 2. How do you clean up a city filled to the brim with crime? By giving them a taste of some high-impact ultraviolet light. Part of the Academy's vast arsenal, the UV Shotgun was developed specifically to combat the recent outbreak of freaks on Pacific City's streets. Genetic mutations hit with the UV light in such a compact blast get incinerated, killing most lower-tier variants in a single hit. Despite this being the UV Shotgun's most effective use, and not packing quite as much of a punch on other enemy types, the sheer strength of UV rays sends all victims caught in its path hurtling through the air. This makes the UV Shotgun quite useful for rounding up or knocking back enemies into areas that they can be better dealt with other weapons at your disposal. A deadly weapon, and quite the nifty gun to keep in your arsenal.
Striker, Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne. Now this is a gun you'll want to drain your bullet time meter to, as you blast waves of enemies down with multiple bursts with the Striker. A drum-fed weapon of pain with a superior rate of fire and a damage level to die for, this shotgun will clear rooms before the hostiles have time to reload. You'll have to wait a while before picking it up, as it won't be available until Part 3, but once obtained, you'll hardly want to swap it out. The Striker is the perfect tool to up your destructive potential to the max.
Onyx Blaster, Terraria. An upgraded version of the generic shotgun in Terraria that can only be obtained by defeating any of the mechanical bosses, the Onyx Blaster packs a massive amount of firepower. In keeping with the way that the shotgun functions, it is able to fire 4 pellets from the one shell, but it has the added bonus of firing a purple and black void shot that explodes when it hits a target. While the base damage of the shotgun is only 28, the void shot does double this when it hits. In order to craft it, you will have to use a normal shotgun with a dark shard and a soul of night on a mithril or orichalcum anvil, making it fairly easy to make considering the high damage that it can manage. The Onyx Blaster also has relatively good knockback, making it effective in keeping enemies at bay as you take down their health. It's best to pair with ichor bullets or crystal bullets, but no matter how you end up using it, it will always hit its mark. Also, the theory pervades that it may be a nod to Bayonetta's Onyx Roses. And to be fair, who doesn't want to be Bayonetta?
Hunter Shotgun, Star Wars Battlefront 2. While Star Wars Battlefront 2 had its issues, the Hunter Shotgun was not one of them. A highly effective close-range weapon that can take down the heaviest of enemies. This gun is perfect for pumping shells into the faces of your foes at an alarmingly close distance. With a long black exterior and a slim line look rounded off with a pointed handle, it provides for a futuristic gun that looks the part as much as it undertakes it. Available to the Assault class, it fires a series of damaging shots that may not always hit, but if they do, they will finish your foes off cleanly and efficiently. However, it's to be noted that this is a weapon of skill and quick thinking strategies. With star cards also affecting its damage and cooldown times, this weapon has annoyed the community enough for many people on forums to practically beg for a nerf. So if you're in the market for something to endlessly annoy the enemy team, look no further than the Hunter Shotgun. Hydra, Resident Evil 5. Marking itself as a special shotgun from the get-go with its unique 3 barrels, the Hydra in Resident Evil 5 makes for a weapon that doesn't confine itself to simply being for close-quarter use. Able to be effective at both long and short range, it's a gun that requires a lot of practice to reach perfect. But once you get there, you'll be able to shoot your foes down like flies. As you advance through the upgrades, it gets even better, with up to 4 times damage at close range. While it does have an incredibly slow reload time, this can be exploited by instead reloading in your inventory, allowing for a cheeky little bypass that is handy if you really need it. The only other potential issue is the high purchase point, but that can be combated if you save up your pennies. However, if you manage to obtain and upgrade it to its utmost, including infinite ammo, it's absolutely worth the investment. Anything that makes dealing with massive amounts of monsters easier is always a good thing. And besides, who doesn't want a shotgun with 3 barrels?
Z180 Scattershot, Halo 4. If you're searching for a little variety from the traditional well-loved UNSC's M90 cause, look no further than the Forerunner Scattershot. The Z180 fires ionized plasma that can ricochet off of hard surfaces, which can be handy when dealing with multiple enemies, but the wrong angle can bounce back in your face. While it only holds 5 single load rounds compared to its counterpart's 6, the Scattershot has a faster rate of fire, which can make up for its inconsistent spread and damage. Naturally, the closer to the target, the better. But make sure you time your shots and reload at every opportunity. You don't want to be caught unaware with an empty chamber. While opinion may be divided on which weapon is better, few can deny the Scattershot is plenty of fun irrespective of its shortcomings.
Onyx Roses, Bayonetta. Quite possibly the only weapons on this list that can be equipped to your feet, the Onyx Roses are not only fantastic as dual shotguns, but are one of the handiest weapons in the game. After Rodin gives you the Onyx Roses in exchange for the first Golden LP, you can almost immediately put the guns to good use. First attribute of note is their infinite ammo magazine, thanks to the stylish jewels in their sides. Secondly, according to their description, each round contains the curse of the fairy's trapped souls, and after popping off at a couple of enemies, the knockback should be more than enough evidence to prove the point. Most enemies who don't die when hit will be stunned briefly, vulnerable to a follow-up combo of your choice. Despite its lower rate of fire, such moves should be easy to adjust to, as they highly resemble the timing of the Scarborough F.E.A.R, Bayonetta's main pistols. When all is said and done, the Onyx Roses add a wickedly glorious flourish to this badass witch's flawless ensemble.
Sharkomatic, Saints Row III. There's nothing quite like a downloadable content that gives the players a whole cache of shark-themed items, especially when one of those items is a super powerful shotgun in the form of a blunderbuss that is designed to pelt your target with delicious fish bits. With an ornate barrel and a top decorated with a little seafood grinder for all your marine life mincing needs, the Sharkomatic looks like the trusty sidearm of a long-dead pirate captain who is really into chowders. The ammo type for this gun is simply known as chum. When it hits someone, they'll desperately search their clothing for the mark, or they simply go into a blind panic. While the designers could have had you then attacked by hordes of hungry street cats, they went with the more obviously logical route of having a giant shark emerge from the ground to swallow your target. Based on the land shark gun from Armed and Dangerous, the Sharkomatic is a fun room cleaning powerhouse. There are some caveats. The gun doesn't work if you're on a plane or on certain NPCs or brutes. The one really curious thing though, most people insist that the shark is a myth, invented long ago by the paranoid citizens of Steelport. The one reassurance that you can give someone before they meet their fishy demise at the fins of the Steelport sewer sharks is that it's probably all just psychological. VK-12 Combat Shotgun, F.E.A.R, First Encounter Assault Recon. Quite possibly the defining weapon of the original game, the VK-12 shot its way into the hearts of fans of F.E.A.R. Found as early as the South River wastewater treatment plant, Pointman wastes no time becoming proficient with his newly acquired pump action, carrying 12 cartridges and packing a punch that can pacify a room in seconds. The only downside to the VK-12's abilities are its fire rate. Combine it with Pointman's slow-mo, and replica soldiers will be turned into mulch before they can let off a shot. However, its deadliness can be turned on you as well, since replica soldiers also utilize the VK-12 in their own arsenal, so be careful when facing off against one unless you want to join Alma in the afterlife. This weapon is also useful against assassins, paranormal apparitions, and taking down heavy armor enemies. The combination of destructive power and tactical usage makes the VK-12 shotgun the deadliest weapon in the game, aside from Pointman himself. Flak Cannon, Unreal Tournament. An unmistakable beast, this potent piece of weaponry is one of the most iconic shotguns, if not guns, in video game history. Unlike most weapons of its kind that fires pellets, the Flak Cannon shoots a spread of molten hot shrapnel. At close range, one blast will paint the screen red, while shots will prove ineffective at long range. But obviously that's a job for a rifle. What makes primary fire so alluring is being able to bounce ammunition off walls and around corners. In such tight corridor arenas, it makes the perfect weapon to cut down foes just as they think they've managed to hide or escape. But what would such a tour de force be without its secondary fire, the grenade launcher? Particularly useful at mid-range, especially to hit players hiding behind cover, the grenade's initial blast will one-hit kill almost everything, and anyone caught in the blast will pay in splash damage. Ultimately, the Flak Cannon's popularity comes from its great handling, excellent firing options, complementary style to Unreal's fast-action gameplay, and the feeling of satisfaction it leaves you after mowing down the competition.
You are the winner.
L10 CAS, F.E.A.R 3. Stylized much like the P90 submachine gun in terms of its transparent overhead magazine slot, the L10 CAS, or Volmer as it is sometimes known, is an automatic shotgun primarily used by replica and armor-charmed forces in the field. It packs an almighty punch against flesh, which is why everyone is wearing heavy armor, and why Pointman and Fettel needs to be extra careful. However, the stopping power is useless against mechanical enemies, so it might be best to stick to long-range tactics during these encounters. While it's not as memorable an experience as its predecessor, it's still a satisfyingly handy gun to have in a pinch.
Acid Sprayer, Prey, 2006. Normal shotguns at their deadliest barely leave anything behind of their kill, but anyone hit by the acid sprayer will be lucky to leave any remains at all. As Tommy makes his way through the Sphere's laboratories, his hidden allies grant him access to a specially made weapon. As can be assumed by the name, this shotgun fires acid rounds that pack a punch up close, but they do diminish in strength at a distance. But this doesn't stop them from being incredibly damaging, especially with the weapon's secondary fire, an acid grenade that can be strategically bounced off walls and launched into populated rooms to sterilize the area. Ammunition may be quick to run out, but that's only because the thing's so fun to use. There's a huge amount of satisfaction to be had with the acid sprayer, especially as you stand over the corpse of your enemies as they slowly disintegrate into nothing.
Sawed-off shotgun. Gears of War 3. The Locust Horde won't know what hit him. The sawed-off shotgun is, by nature, a pillar of strength at close range. While the Gnasher is designed for somewhat more rapid-firing defense against the hordes, the sawed-off is for precision-aimed retreats and assaults. It only holds 2 rounds in the chamber and provides a wide destructive spread. The only drawback to this weapon is that it can only be fired once and then needs to be reloaded, leaving the wielder vulnerable after the shot. While mainly utilized by the Stranded, it was created by the COG army as a surefire way to kill Locust in a single blast. However, the weapon can be used by both factions in multiplayer. While it may not be the greatest weapon for every assault, this gun boasts a very satisfying experience when in use, especially in multiplayer. The only thing louder than the boom of your sawed-off will be the screams of rage over your headset. Reaper's Hellfire Shotguns. Overwatch. There's no denying that Reaper is a complete badass, or at least he likes to think he's one. And so his attire and his weaponry also have to be designed to reflect this. The Hellfire Shotguns, when seen in his basic skin, are chunky black weapons with enormous silver handles, able to be wielded in both hands at the same time. The power of these guns are not to be sniffed at either, with their current capacity setting at a maximum of 8 shots that release 20 pellets, which can all do 7 damage each if they land their target. While the shotguns are not effective at long range, they still manage to do a reasonable damage at medium range and extreme damage when close up, especially when getting headshots. There's also the added bonus that Reaper's shotguns are known as tank eaters for their overwhelming capacity to absolutely demolish the health of tanks like Roadhog and Diva. If you have a good enough aim, the Hellfire shotguns are also amazingly effective against small squishy characters like Tracer. One of their best features is their ability to heal Reaper as he deals damage to any foe, giving him back his edge, as if anything can really take his edge away. The reload time is not optimum, so it's most advisable to get to a safe place with Wraith form if you're stuck in the middle of a firefight with no ammo. One thing is for sure though, when you hear the shots ringing out, you'll be sure to let everyone know that death walks among them.
Corinth, Warframe. You'll have a hard time picking a favourite shotgun out of this list, but Corinth should certainly be a top contender. The principle of the weapon is simple. Primary fire is 5 buckshot rounds, while secondary fire is a single shot explosive pellet. Sounds basic, but the damage is incredible. At close range, nothing can withstand a full blast from the business end of this bad boy. And while the explosive is temperamental to the point of fizzling out when hitting any surface, it will incinerate anything within an 8-meter radius of its detonation point. Reload time is finicky as always, but the glorious kills and satisfying bang more than make up for any shortcomings. This combined with the fast-paced acrobatic movements of your Warframe should make way for hours of poetic, slaughtering entertainment. Blundergat, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Despite carrying 2 dual barrels of goodness, the Blundergat in its standard form is only a single-shot weapon that still packs a powerful punch, easily slicing through multiple enemies at once. This wonder weapon is acquired from the Mob of the Dead mystery box or by finding 5 hidden skulls to attain a free one. Upgrading it via the Pack-a-Punch machine turns this demonic powerhouse into the Sweeper, which doubles the magazine to 2 rounds and doubles the reserve ammo from 60 to 120. Its next iteration is the Acid Gat, which adds another round to the magazine as well as making the ammunition acidic, causing rounds to stick to surfaces and enemies, slowing them down before causing them to explode in a shower of blood and entrails. Be careful though, as the rounds in this iteration are too dangerous to be used up close. A further upgrade turns the Blundergat into Vitriolic Withering, which ups the damage considerably, as well as attracts the zombies to projectiles stuck to the walls and floor before it promptly explodes. This ought to make strolling through the zombie-infested streets a breeze.
Boom Chica, Saints Row, Gat Out of Hell. Saints Row is well known for having the most ludicrous of weapons, and every time a new installment in the series materializes, there's a high bar to be reached. In order to even get your hands on this shotgun, you need to open every single Blackbeard chest after finding all the glyphs. When you're stuck in the middle of the game, cursing your ability to achieve this, you may sit back and wonder what the point is. However, once you get your greedy little hands on the Boom Chica, the weapon headlining for the deadly sin of lust, you'll realize that every minute of the grind was worth it, especially if you lack the collectible finder ability. The Boom Chica fires on your enemies with a cute pink cloud of love and sends them staggering towards you, addled by the pheromone haze that you've thrust them into. This, of course, makes them incredibly easy to shoot with another weapon as they float towards you in a lusty daze, pink love hearts over their heads. With a decent range and spread, it's well worth getting your hands on, even if it's just for the sake of attracting every member of Satan's army.
Wave Gun, Nuclear Throne. When it came to naming a gun after its ability to cut down wave after wave of bad guys in a single trigger pull, they didn't really decide on the most imaginative title. Actually, the shotgun derives its name from the fact that each shot fires 16 pellets that arc out of the barrel into a V-shape. These projectiles can also bounce off surfaces like ocean waves, crashing back down on opponents, leaving nothing but corpses in its wake. It only holds 2 rounds, but that's probably all you'll need. Give it a try and enjoy the light show.
Shotgun, System Shock 2. Aboard the Von Drawn, shotgun hybrids run rampant, wielding those powerful cannons fused with their arms. It isn't long before you're able to get your hands on one, provided you're at skill level 3 for standard weapons. Due to the shotgun hybrids being a commonplace, rifled slugs are easy to come by, and are very accurate at close to medium ranges. Alternatively, anti-personnel shells are less obtainable and have a disproportionate spread, but are very handy against organic life forms. Upgrades include a reduction to reload and recoil, both of which also increase damage. The only major drawback of this weapon is in its secondary fire, which, although it fires 3 rounds, only does double damage. A bit of a discrepancy, but that by no means reduces the convenience of this weapon.
Conference Call, Borderlands 2. A Hyperion gun, as all the best guns are, the Conference Call shotgun gives the player a chance to royally mess up anything in Pandora. While it is a random drop with some places allowing for a higher chance of it appearing, it's something that's a welcome sight in the loot box. What makes the Conference Call special is its ability to spawn extra bullets from the bullets that it fires on random chance, and on a good day, every single one can spawn up to 4. This makes the gun particularly effective when you're fighting against any kind of large enemy, especially those annoying bosses with their pesky armor. The bullets can be any of the potential elements, sometimes being absolutely none at all, and they have decent impact irrespective of their multiplication. When used in tandem with the B-Shield, it can be even stronger to the point where the developers had to tone this down to prevent exploitation. However, even with this having happened, it still works fairly well. The Conference Call is the perfect shotgun for you to gather around all your friends and shoot the crap out of the biggest baddies around. Maybe even while holding a conference call yourselves.
Auto Shotgun, Serious Sam 2. While the auto shotgun at first glance may look like a weird modern art project made out of utility poles and orange electrical tape, it just so happens to be full of surprises. With its 8 barrels and automatic shifting, it provides the player with the opportunity to use some serious firepower. It is a bit of a rarity in the shotgun world, however, as it does manage better at long range than it does when the enemies start encroaching on Sam. It is particularly effective if you happen to be faced with enormous swarms of weak fiends who decide to make it their business to steal all of your personal space. Perfect for a pinch, the auto shotgun is also relatively easy to locate in the world, so you should have no difficulty accessing this long-range beauty to help you succeed in your mission.
Cerberus, Shadow Warrior 2. Named after the 3-headed dog that guards the entrance to Hades, the triple-barreled shotgun certainly provides enough bite to match its bark. Obtainable at various points after the All in the Family mission, Lo Wang now has enough power to obliterate an entire demon horde. What's more impressive is the weapon bonus for killing 3 enemies simultaneously increases critical hit chances by 20%, which can come incredibly handy amidst a tight firefight. But while this may all seem a good deal for Wang, the slow reload time is only made worse by the single load of each barrel, meaning every shot has to count. This can be mitigated somewhat by mods, but it's still a noticeable detriment.
Pimp Cane, Saints Row 2. I don't know what you've heard about this weapon, but you can get a shot out of it. Being disguised is the perfect cane for when you're out and about and doing some big pimping. The Pimp Cane doubles as a 12-gauge shotgun to shoot the crap out of anyone who dares question your authority. It can hold 116 when at full ammunition and causes the most damage out of all of the shotguns, although it does have a slow reload speed. It ain't easy, but when you complete the Pyramid Scheme mission, you'll be able to access this little beauty in the weapons cache. With its gold and wood accents and the handle in a rather suggestive pose, you'll be stunned from the first glimpse of this gun. Considering that it doubles as a walking stick, it's a surprisingly effective weapon with 16 in the clip and 1 in the chamber. Perfectly paired with just about any outfit found in-game, this will have you able to groove the streets and in your sleep. If anyone even looks sideways at you, you'll simply be able to lift your cane and have them minding their own business in no time. You want to be a true caliber pimp? Then get in on this.
Dispersion Gun, Time Splitters, Future Perfect. One of the most powerful guns in the whole game, the Dispersion Gun is able to kill almost any enemy in the game, most often with one shot. With its sleek futuristic design, cool blues and whites in combination with the odd splatter of red, it certainly looks the part of a gun with the capability to cause enormous amounts of damage without breaking a sweat. It has the capacity to do attacks that appear weak and others that allow for more damage with charge behind them. While it can be somewhat unreliable in the number of shots it's using, swinging between 1, 2, and 3 depending on charge, it does reload quickly, unlike most other shotguns. The Dispersion Gun, however, is not one to be used by casual players, as its spread is also randomized whilst in motion, and can result in bullets going directions that nobody expected them to. This means that accuracy comes at the price of being a sitting duck, but with some decent cover, you'll clear out what few levels you can get this gun in no time.
Abzats, Metro Last Light. One of the repurposed pet projects of Andrew the Blacksmith, the Abzats is a machine gun that has been altered in order to take shotgun shells. An incredibly heavy beast, weighing more than 20 pounds even with various attempts to reduce weight. The Abzats means sacrificing your inventory space, but it's a sacrifice worth making. With unmatched power in the game, it provides Artyom with the ability to take out even the scariest of enemies in the Metro with relative ease compared to other weapons in his arsenal. Considering its weight, it has an amazing fire rate, which is absolutely perfect for eviscerating the swarms of monsters that make their way towards you, usually when there is very little light to guide you. It's important to remember that it's not all guns and roses, however, and the Abzats does have its failings. With a short range and abysmal single-shot damage, it's something to only get out for those special occasions when the monsters are really getting up in your personal space. The best advice we can give is to stockpile as much shotgun ammo as you can and keep it for when you really need it, or alternatively, when you could do for some quick cash.
Galleria 1991 Quad Barrel, Far Cry, Blood Dragon. While the Galleria 1991 in and of itself is already a pretty impressive weapon, it doesn't seem to be the most outstanding firearm in the whole of Blood Dragon. The base gun is a lever-action shotgun, which is clearly derivative of the 1887 shotgun in Far Cry 3, and has a number of modifications that it can undergo, including double barrel, semi-automatic, and bandolier. However, the most notable of these is the quad barrel upgrade. The fairly ordinary looking shotgun is a massive boost. The upgrade allows for the player to fire 4 bullets at one time, giving you an almost farcical capacity to blast your enemies to pieces. The shots when fired let off a massive spray, giving you both a shot and a show with your mindless destruction. With all 4 barrels in use, ammo is used up especially fast, so make sure you keep an eye on your meter. While the quad barrel is pretty incredible, perhaps it's best to save it for those situations where you really need as much help as you can get.
LJ-10 Volleyjet. Depth. A rather unique shotgun for this list, the LJ-10 Volleyjet is a spear gun that will make even the fiercest fish leave the ocean. 10 rounds are loaded into the chamber with 5 fired at a time. While they may not seem like the greatest insurance against 3 rows of razor-sharp teeth swimming towards you with the speed of light, but if you can land even one entire volley in sharkskin, guarantees an instant kill. The Volleyjet does come at a cost of $3,000, making it one of the more expensive weapons to purchase, and while its base form may seem finicky at first, upgrading it can aid in aiming and impact. Some players recommend using the shotgun in conjunction with the net gun to slow down enemies before taking them out. Take your time learning how the Volleyjet works, as it has quite the learning curve.
Shell, enter the gungeon. Alright, so get this. The shell is a large 12 gauge cartridge. This shell fires 3 full-size shotguns that can cause quite a bit of damage, but the fun doesn't end there. Each shotgun fires 2 pellets once they hit a surface. The novelty of the shell is more than enough to earn it a spot on this list, but just wait till you double wield it with the bullet. Go ahead and guess what that gun does.
Shockhammer X, Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. No other weapon will blast the Nazi scum back to hell quite like the Shockhammer, a triple-barreled monster from the forges of the Germans themselves. Once you take this weapon from Area 52, you'll be able to unleash plenty of full auto, one-shot kills upon your foes. Unapologetically loud, it'll attract unwanted attention, but if you're wise in how you expend your 20-round magazine, you should at least be able to thin out the opposition, if not completely wipe them out. Completely upgraded, the Shockhammer not only holds twice the shells and allows the buckshot to ricochet off all surfaces, but even adds an alternate fire, simultaneously discharging all 3 chambers, strong enough to blow a hole in anything that moves. Try not to get too carried away and expend all your ammo, but each blast is so satisfyingly fun, you might not be able to help it.
Skull Blaster, Shadows of the Damned. Beginning its life as the humble Mono Kushner, then becoming the deadly Skullfest 9000, before turning into the Skull Blaster. This should come as no surprise, but the Skull Blaster fires green skulls which it loads by charging up multiple projectiles at once. Up to 4 skulls can be fired, and if charged extensively, will fuse the skulls into one giant skull which acts as a grenade that detonates on contact with enemies. Or be used to bounce and roll into hard-to-reach areas to kill hostiles or solve puzzles. It is one of the most ludicrous weapons showcased, but its performance puts it leagues ahead of the game.
Arm of the Night, The Darkness 2. The power of the darkness is overpowered on its own, but being able to control a sawn-off with infinite ammo and powered by the darkness, that's so satisfying it almost feels like cheating. The Arm of the Night never runs out of juice, although it does take some time to charge itself with enough energy to cleave any old mobster in two with a single blast. According to Shoshana, whose ancestors have wielded the weapon for over 75 years, this shotgun of darkness never misses. See? Cheating. But it comes at the cost of those tied to its fate never living beyond the age of 30. More's the pity that you can only use it in the Vendetta's campaign mode, but time is too short to complain. Might as well enjoy sticking a pair of barrels down the throats of your enemies and shoot out their hearts to regain some of the life you've lost.
Thump Gun, Saints Row 4. Described as having the range of a rifle with the finesse of a brutal curb stomp, it's quite clear from the get-go that the Thump Gun is going to be quite a fun time. With a short barrel and a glowing coil in the middle of the gun, it looks quite futuristic, complete with a Terminator-esque eye at the end of the handle. Able to be bought at Friendly Fire, it's easily obtainable once you complete the mission Hack the Planet. While most shotguns are used for short-range blasts, the Thump Gun is perfect for those situations when you want to use immense amounts of fire, but also want to stay far, far away from the action. The gun fires in rapid succession, allowing for you to keep all your foes at bay, but beware of the fact that it can overheat, which can leave you in a firefight with nothing to come to your aid. But this does come with the perk of not having a magazine. Oddly, the Thump Gun is less effective at close range, as it requires fairly effective aiming, and this becomes increasingly difficult with the gun type. Nevertheless, if you're on the prowl for a gun that feels like smacking people over the head with a baseball bat, the Thump Gun is the weapon for you.
Shotgun, Bioshock. Going to the dentist is never a fun activity, and in a crumbling city like Rapture, where there's murderous physicians lurking around every corner, it's even less of an enjoyable thing. Found on the floor, the shotgun is a rather ordinary-looking weapon with a wooden handle and steel barrel. It has 3 types of ammunition: standard bucks, electric bucks, and exploding bucks. All of these shells have different effects, with the electric bucks able to give any waterbound splicers a shocking time, the exploding bucks able to do enormous damage, and the standard bucks being perfect for headshotting your nearest target. It works best being used at close range, even though it does have a small ammo chamber and takes forever to reload. However, once upgraded at power to the people stations scattered around Rapture, the shotgun becomes one of the most devastating weapons in your arsenal. Able to defeat a Big Daddy with 4 electric buckshots, the shotgun makes for a handy sidearm to blast into the face of any splicer that may cross your path.
Riot Gun, Shadow Warrior Classic. When a shotgun shows up looking like a 4-barreled minigun, you know you're probably going to be in for a good time. Able to switch between being used as a semi-automatic and an automatic weapon, the Riot Shotgun gives you more options than most weapons out there, even from the get-go. These two modes involve one providing a single shot, and the other allowing for all 4 barrels to be used to wreak havoc as much as you'd like. As with many shotguns, it isn't too effective at long range, so it's important to get as close as you possibly can to your enemies to ensure full power. One of the most helpful things about this weapon is that it doesn't have too much kickback, leaving you able to shoot without being knocked around heavily. The Riot Shotgun is most helpful when you're facing down with bigger monsters, as it can blow their brains out with one shot more often than not, regardless of whatever you're presented with in the Shadow Warrior world. Lo Wang will always be able to rely on his trusty Riot Shotgun to get him after jam after jam after jam.
Combat Shotgun, Rage 2. One of the best tools of destruction at your disposal, the Combat Shotgun is an early and versatile addition to your arsenal. Close-range combat is fast-paced and punchy with this heavy-kicking weapon, capable of sending victims flying with ease. The buckshot acts as basic ammo and can take down most enemies in 2 shots at best, or stun heavy armored opponents at worst, just long enough to land a killing blow. It uses pulse shots, which are mini EMP rounds that work well against most electronic enemies and obstacles, while pop rockets turn any villain into a blood-red cloud. An 8-round fed magazine sounds pretty generous, but with the weapon's slow rate of fire combined with its 2 rounds at a time reload, it can chew into your precious window of safety. However, there is an upgrade that modifies the shotgun to take a box mag instead, making reloading substantially quicker. It's no surprise that almost every faction in the game uses the combat shotgun, but seeing you wield it with such precision is liable to make anyone quake. Force Gun, Dead Space. Even space engineers need the best gear in case of a sudden necromorph infestation, and when it comes to blasting these nightmares apart, look no further than the Force Gun. Originally designed to smash rocks and hurl debris using a shockwave, you can use it to smash enemies and blast them well away. Everyone knows that when you fight a necromorph, distance is key, but the Force Gun says screw that and forces you to get up close and personal to unleash the full force of this weapon against hostile forces. The further you are from the necromorphs, the more useless primary fire is against them. Secondary fire lobs a gravitron grenade for mid-distance damage, which can come in handy injuring enemies at a distance before finishing them off closer. However, aiming the bomb is difficult at times, and its splash damage can come back to bite you in the butt. Stasis is best utilized alongside this feature, especially where multiple targets are concerned. Our advice? Get in close, knock them down, and keep them staggered until they burst into a shower of limbs. Just don't try this with pregnants. It won't end well.
V.S. Shotgun, Lost Planet 2. Found mounted on the arms of a vital suit, the V.S. Shotgun has one main function: crushing bugs back into their nests. Since the snow melted on EDN3, the Acrid have regrouped and expanded their forces, fighting back harder than ever before. As a result, VS has been vital to cutting down their numbers, and the shotgun is one of the best weapons for that. Also useful for killing humans and other VS opponents. This weapon's usefulness is best seen at close range. typically dropping the further from the target you are. A very typical loadout as far as shotguns go, but utilize it well, and you'll not even notice its shortcomings.
ZICS-C Shotgun, Shadow Warrior 2013. You might think to yourself that this abandoned shotgun you've just pried out of a door is a little ugly, but don't let appearances fool you. Beneath its rugged, bulky exterior beats the heart of a demon-slaying machine. The ZICS-C shotgun can fire up to 4 shells once fully upgraded, either sequentially or all at once. An additional perk allows you to reload 2 shells at once, which can be handy for group encounters. For the most effective results, you'll want to get right into the faces of the bad guys before turning them into a bloody red mist of guts. This weapon is so entertaining to use, it's sensual. So come on demons, come get a taste of Lo Wang's 4 barrels of love.
Did you enjoy the video? Why not click the bell icon and subscribe to see more content from us at Tats Talk Videos. And now let's see the creators of this video.